Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Director's Garage Live. I am your host and, oh boy, resident idiot Michael. There we go. Hey, how you doing on a Friday? Hope everybody's doing well. Made it through the week. Got the, rocking the LCD-4 from Odyssey. And that's going to be the subject of today. We're going to be talking about Odyssey. We're going to be talking about the big Sony deal. If only there was a news story for us to talk about. Actually, I got a couple of things we'll talk about today. We're going to talk about that story. That's the big headline. That's what everybody is chatting about all over the interwebs. And then, sorry, I'm doing like four things at once here. We've got We've got that story. There is a breaking news collab with the White Stripes we're going to talk about, if you haven't heard about that. And then I've got a viewer system from today from Mr. Dynamite. Hopefully he'll stop in a little bit later. I'm letting some people stream in, get some folks coming in. I know everybody wants to talk about this thing. I got one thing I got to do. Into the wide shot. Okay, just had to clear something for work. So basically, we're going to talk about that. But the big news, obviously, is the big Sony acquisition of Odyssey, and what does this mean, and what could this mean, and all of that. But I want to get some folks coming in. Let's let the room warm up a little bit. Happy Friday! Cheers, everybody! Got the big rocking the big. I'm almost out of this, but. Big honking jug of hooch. Moonshine whiskey. Oh my God. And we'll get some chat. Get your comments in about things. What does this mean for the future of Odyssey? What does it mean for the future of Sony? What does it mean for us, the devoted, stupid public who buys all the shit? What does it mean for us? Let's talk about it. We'll get that discussion going, and I'll give you my thoughts, and we'll run down the news of it. And then we're going to talk about the White Stripes and the deal they just cut. There is to re-release some of their old stuff, which is fantastic. It's very exciting news from my end. I love the White Stripes. I like Jack White. I think Jack White's a genius, and a visionary, and I love his approach to music and everything. Let's take a look at what's going on here with the video. We got a lot of washed outness. Maybe we can cure that a little bit. Let's just drop this a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That's something. And maybe give a little more of this. Oh Lord. It's what happens when I don't get... the new episode, let's talk about the new episode real quick. The new episode will be out next week. I shot it on Wednesday, I think, or Thursday. No, it was Wednesday. I shot it 2 days ago. I haven't been able to do anything with it. It's been a super busy week for me, and with cleanup and all the stuff from the big storm, hurricane. We had a hurricane, guys, in LA. I don't know if you heard about this, but first of all, a hurricane blew through. It was a tropical storm by the time it hit us, and dumped tons of rain on us and wind, and broke a couple of branches in the middle of the night. No big deal. Everything survived. But we're sitting. It's like 2:30 in the afternoon, and we're sitting in the living room and we're watching TV, Mrs. Director and myself, and all of a sudden everything starts swinging. Whoa. Giant earthquake right in the middle of this hurricane coming through Hillary. Oh Lord, it was an absolute riot. We had so much. It was so fun, and nothing got broke or anything. It was just like, whoa, man, that was a jolt. 1 minute you're sitting there in the rainstorm, and the next thing you know, everything's rocking around. Okay, so that's kind of enough. We got some folks in here. I'll start with the chat first, and then we're gonna go through, and get into these stories. So the first provisorism Provisorium. Okay, whatever. Hey, cheers, buddy. Haven't seen you here before. Why not Grado? Why? I don't know. Why not Grado? No. We got the LCD4s out because this is the big news story of the day right here. I featured these just a couple of weeks ago on the live stream because Odyssey summarily killed the LCD4 OG version. They're no longer manufacturing these new. And these are mine from many years ago. They've got some augmented pads on them. We had a discussion over the pads a couple weeks ago. And I think we decided that these were Daconis pads, what we came to. But at any rate, they stopped making these, and then boom, the whole earth shook again yesterday when we got that news. That was fabulous. I mean, what a mic drop moment. Well, we've bought Odyssey, says Sony. We've bought Odyssey. Well, here's the thing, right? I think this cuts two ways. I think this can be a very exciting thing, and I think this could maybe be something that us audiophiles might not like as much. And I'll explain. There's huge upside. Well, let's talk about the news of it. First of all, Odyssey is not going to become Sony. It's not going to be, Odyssey, a Sony company or something. They're not gonna change the name to Sonazy. And somebody on the news, I was listening to our local radio news today because I was driving around LA. I had a bunch of work to do today. Interviewed Jessica Simpson. That's going to be on tonight's Entertainment Tonight, if you're interested about that. She's got some new music coming out. She's doing a new album in Nashville. It's going to be cross-genre. You've got to see this stuff. It's going to be good. But I had an interview with her today, and I was driving around, and I'm listening, and they had the business news come out, and they go, Sony has bought Southern California company Audeze. And I'm like, see, they did it too. The news did it. I'm not an idiot. I am an idiot. But that was kind of fun. I kind of heard that. But okay, so Odyssey is not going anywhere. It's going to stay the company Odyssey. They're not going to make it Sonazy or Audi. They make it Audi. It's gonna stay Odyssey. And then the reason they said that Sony said they want Odyssey in their fold is for gaming headsets. They're very interested in their products like the Maxwell and the LCD-GX, and they want to use it and get it sort of tied to their PlayStation platform, which is understandable. I'm a little surprised in a sense because Sony is Sony. They make great consumer products. Their consumer products are great already. Now, they're not Odyssey standard, although, some would argue that their IEMs are up there, and they've had a couple of audiophile, certainly a number of audiophile headphones over the years. So it's a little bit of a curious purchase, but they said they're interested in higher-end gaming headphones, and those two, particularly the Maxwell, which is hot right now in the gaming world, was a big draw for them. They wanted an already established brand that can do high-end PlayStation headphones. Okay, great. And they said that they're going to continue making headphones for everyone, for all gaming platforms. In other words, it's not going to somehow disappear, or I'm sorry, what was I saying? They're going to continue they're not going to oh, three things happen at once. I got a text and I'm trying to think of what my thought, and I'm, there's a lot going on in this brain. It's not easy being me, folks. They're going to continue to make universal headphones in that you can use them across any platform. It can be Xbox, it can be PlayStation, it can be whatever it is. But they didn't rule out the possibility of a PlayStation-specific Odyssey headphone down the line. So that's okay, you know, and I can see them wanting to do that. You know, hey, only Sony has this technology and can give it to you on a PlayStation platform. I get it. Okay. The pros for Odyssey and for us are pretty good. I think that this is a direct influx of cash into Odyssey. I think they're going to see, you know, obviously more money available for them to do research. I think they're going to market their headphones more aggressively because they're going to have a much bigger, stronger arm in the marketing department. Nobody, you know, very few companies can market. Apple maybe can market as well as Sony does. So they're going to help Odyssey out in that marketing and spreading their name out there, getting it out there more to people who are outside. You know, as important as this is to us, Odyssey is a very small entity, right? They're not known. If you walk up to anybody on the street and say, hey, have you heard of the new LCD-4? And they're like, is that a TV set? You know what I mean? Like they don't know, or LCD-5 or whatever it is they're making. So, you know, you have to understand that we're a very small subset. So it's going to get the Odyssey name out there. They're going to be known probably more. Like I think the name Focal carries more of a universal name because they make other things. They make speakers, they make car speakers, they do all sorts of stuff. It's going to elevate the Odyssey name beyond a boutique, right? It certainly elevates. It's going to allow them to elevate their name, and I think that it's going to allow them to bring headphones to market more quickly. Because they're going to be able to invest in, you know, they're going to be able to get better tools to create their headphones. And it'll allow them to probably explore thinner membranes and things like that, all of that super tech stuff, different magnet types, different driver types. It's going to allow them to sort of jump into, you know, more areas because they're going to have more money to do it. The cons from our perspective, as I see it, are that we may find Odyssey focusing more on commercial headphones than audiophile headphones. And this stands to reason. If Sony is coming in and they're buying a company because of their gaming products, if I'm that company and I want to stay in their good graces and not have Sony come in with, you know, a team and axe all of the talent out of there and the management structure, I'm going to want to give them more of what they're asking for or more of what they're interested in, which is gaming headsets. So I think that their focus, at least initially, we're going to see a couple of different versions of the Maxwell. We've already seen one released recently, a different anodized something or other. And I think that we're going to see, you know, they're probably going to do more stuff with microphones and, you know, maybe noise canceling, and, you know, they're going to do some of the tech that gamers care about. They'll do some focusing there. And that's going to like delay probably an LCD6 or whatever else they've got in their pipeline, Carbon 2 or Carbon Plus or Carbon whatever. You know, I think that we'll see. I think that that's going to slow that product. We're going to see fewer audiophile offerings initially. Now down the road, it may be a boon because maybe they're able to take that Sony influx of money and really hammer out some new tech or hammer out some new ground because there's a lot more money for research and development. That's good. But I do worry that a move like this will change the company into more focused over, to be more focused on profits over passion. And I've been to the Odyssey plant. I've been to the factory down in Santa Ana or down in Orange County. And these are passionate folks. I mean, they're as into this stuff as you or I, more so, because they devote their entire day to customers and research and development and trying new things and all of the things that make Odyssey, have made Odyssey what they are today. And it would be a shame if Sony comes in and goes, well, this is good, but we need you to be more profitable. We didn't buy this as a losing money entity or a break-even entity. We want to see some big profits here out of this. And this is all speculation, you know, I mean, maybe not, maybe so. But these are things that could happen, you know, down the road. So those are my main things. I see the pros as, you know, there's more money for research, more money for marketing. We're going to see a quicker pipeline, a shorter pipeline between when they decide to do a product and when they deliver the product, because they're going to be able to move faster because they've got more behind them, helping them along. We may see more groundbreaking technology. And then the cons are, well, maybe their focus is going to be in this commercial lane. It's going to be on, that gaming market for a while, for the near future, for the foreseeable future, because they want to impress their new owners. And then, you know, is the focus, well, that may equate to fewer audiophile offerings. And then, like I said, this focus on profit over passion. These are the potential ups and downs I see. And what do you guys see? Let's go to the chat and let's see what you know, what your thoughts are. Hipster Cow, howdy. Cheers, Hipster Cow. Happy Friday. We made it, boys. We made it. It's a Freaky Friday. Amazing. Finally decided to buy a used LCD-4 Hipster Cow. Can't wait for to try them out. I give these things a big recommendation. I think they are the buy. Now they've gone up. Oh, I'm getting a little foldback. Hang on. Once again, your director forgot to mute the TV set, so it's playing out and catching on the mic, and it gives a little bit of a echo effect. It's nothing like that. You know, Odyssey killed this. The future, any future new versions of this, they're not selling these new anymore, and that saw the price of these jump a few $100s on the used market. They went from about $2,000 to about $2,300, $2,400, $2,500 for a pair, because you can't just, you know, go out and buy them anymore. And these are amazing headphones for the money. Even at $2,200, $2,300, $2,400, they're probably still a buy for me, because they just sound so good. I mean, they just tremendous bass, tremendous, you know, good speed, not world-class speed anymore, but good speed, great detail, all the things. It's got all the things, and deep kick and sub. You know, the LCD-5 was not the next version of this, so you can't get this. You know, you can get the 4Z still, but it's not the same headphone. I don't think it's quite as good, but it's better style, it's easier to wear, it's lighter. You know, there are a lot of positives about the LCD-4Z. But the OG, if you're just looking at sound and you don't mind a heavier headphone, I certainly don't. I got a tree trunk like neck, boys. I don't mind these at all. I listen to them all day long, and they're terrific. Terrific. God, what a great headphone. So you're in for a good treat. And what I'm saying, Hipster Cow, is you're in for a real treat. They do like a lot of power. The better amp, you know, the more amps you're, the more powerful amp you're throwing at them, the better it tends to respond. But they're not as finicky as, say, the Abyss or the Susvara. Did you change the color balance on my camera? No, I did tweak it a little bit. It's a little less colorful. The live stream is weird. It's going through so many different like things and sub things. It's going through a lot of electronics before it gets to YouTube, and then YouTube crunches it all down. And I look at the fold back, and it's like it's all washed out. And I'm looking at my phone even right here, and it's all washed out too. So I don't know. I can drop the pedestal just a little bit, and that'll make make for a little more contrast. The blacks will get blacker, boys. Back in Black. Great album. Can Jam London, Anthony Behrman. Cheers, Anthony. Happy Friday. Can Jam London was an absolute blast, the best so far. Nephilim says he likes the color balance. Looking good, Michael. And wow, Sony's Odyssey. My, that is interesting. Yes, it's the story everybody's talking about. Got one other one I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, too. There are still a few left for sale in the UK. Yeah, you can find them, but they're not making any new ones. You know, there's nothing new coming out of... there's nothing new coming out of the Odyssey factory anymore. In the LCD4, plain old G stealth magnet LCD4 form. You have to buy the LCD4Z, which is more like the construction of the LCD5. And they're nice, but I think these have a little something, there's a little extra spicy magic inside of these, whatever it is. I like them. They're beasts. They're good. Looking good, pal. Losing weight, says Joel Johansson. Yeah, that's for a medical thing more than anything. They were getting a little worried about my heart, and they said, you know, dude, you're getting fat. I said, well, yeah. So, you know, change the diet up, trying to get more exercise, you know, the typical things. I'm 56, boys. I'm not getting any younger. Hipster Cow Wow, congrats, man. What a great headphone. Happy for you. Yeah. Definitely. Hipster Cow, you're in for a good time. LCD4 is a beast. It really is. It's a fantastic headphone. Fantastic headphone. You're going to like it. Happy, congrats on 5,000. Am I at 5,000, guys? Did I make 5,000 finally? Did I make 5,000 and I missed it? I haven't been paying attention, guys. I've had such a busy work week. I have no idea where we're at. It was we've been a little slow, and then I started putting out episodes and it started climbing again. You know how it goes. Let's see. What am I at? God, I don't even know. This is very exciting, boys. YouTube Studio. What does it say? The survey says 5,001. I wish I had Electron could do streamers. Wow. Hey, cheers. Look at that. 5,001. Well, it's been a long journey to 5,000. And like, then there's guys with like 150,000 and they're like, yeah, whatever, dude. Forever a deluser. Yeah, it's great. Hopeful about Odyssey and Sony. Ken Workshop. Ken, thanks for the photos, by the way, buddy. That was fantastic. I've got another photo. We're going to show off somebody else's system today before we're off the air. Hopeful about Odyssey and Sony. Sony has a long history of unique hi-fi stuff. Yeah, and their portable stuff is amazing. The IE900, their players are fantastic. I still have Sony Lust. I want one of those gold players. It's got like 1,000 letters in it. WM1, W4F, what I don't know what the heck it is. But I want one of the version 2 of that. Fantastic high-end audio player. Really gorgeous, great interface, you know, does all the things. Still has a VFET amp from the 70s. Amazing sound. Yeah. The old Sony stuff, that EF stuff. Remember when the ES line? They did an ES line of Sony stuff that was audiophile. And it's as good as it gets. I mean, that stuff is phenomenal. That ES line Sony stuff. They had CD players and integrated amps and a bunch of Sony ES cassette players and all kinds of tape players. And I still have somewhere. I kept my DAT player. That's the DAT player and the cassette player I kept. I don't remember if the cassette player is Sony though. I don't know. It might be. But I have a Sony DAT player for my old work product and stuff. That's one of the few OG decks that I kept. I threw everything else out. I threw all my video stuff out. My old SD video stuff went when we did the big move. What if Sony ditches the planar tech and replaces it with cheaper dynamic drivers and tries to tell us it's the same? Well, that isoparametrics, I think what you're touching on is what I was worried about as far as they're going to want, seek profit over quality. And that's a possibility. I mean, we don't know what the dynamic is. For now, they're claiming that they're going to let Odyssey be Odyssey, and they want them to focus. Obviously, they bought the company to do these gaming headsets like the Maxwell and the LCD GX. So, yeah, I mean, that's a concern that they could want profits first, and that would mean, looking at the bottom line. But they're not an American company, and the Japanese market likes quality. They are audiophiles over there. So, I think it could go either way. We just have to wait and see. But it sure is interesting to talk about. What a great discussion topic. One of the biggest, one of the finest, I should say, manufacturers of audiophile headphones now has a big company behind it. It's going to be good and bad. I mean, there's going to be positives and negatives, and hopefully that means that some of their higher end stuff like the Carbon and the LCD-5 get revisions quicker, and the tech keeps getting pushed because the Carbon is, to my way of thinking, it's one of the best electrostatic headphones on the market, and Sony's now got they now own that tech. That's theirs. So they could do a Sony version of an electrostatic. What would that sound like? I don't know. But they could say, hey, send us over your drivers. We want to play with them. And there's nothing Odyssey can do about it. They're going to have to hand it over. They own the company now. So I don't know. It could be great. It could be not so great. Hipster Cow says he has a feeling they're going to stop producing top-of-the-line stuff and mostly move into the gaming sphere. Entirely a possibility, but why would you buy an audiophile company to do that? If you know what I mean? Like, they didn't just go... They could have gone out and bought... I don't know. Trying to think. Kennerton would be a great company to buy, right? Kennerton has nice-sounding stuff. They're the stuff that doesn't break the bank. Why buy the super high-end company? ZMF is the only other company I can think of that's sort of like on a par with what Odyssey does. HiFiman is a bigger company, like as far as size, and HiFiman is a bigger company. Certainly, Sennheiser is a huge company. Abyss, they could have bought Abyss, but that's privately owned, so that would take a bigger deal. And then so I'm thinking of like, what could Sony have alternately bought? They could have bought Abyss. They could have bought ZMF. The boutiques, the smaller stuff. They're not going to buy a Meze, so. And they're certainly not going to buy a Focal. Focal's not going to sell. They're a huge company. Focal is. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me that you would buy a company that makes all this top of the line gear and then kill the top of the line gear. I'm guessing the majority. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen their profit and loss statement, so I don't know what's their biggest selling headphone. Is it the cheaper stuff, or is it the more expensive stuff? Probably the cheaper stuff. More people can afford it. So there you go. There's a history of audiophile companies being acquired only to then have them be selling mainstream products. That's a very fair and intelligent point. I like the point, Hipster Cow. I just don't understand the thinking from if I'm making an investment in Odyssey. Because I'm interested in their, in them doing high-end gaming headphones. That's trickle-down technology, right? It's the stuff that's in the gaming headphones came from the more expensive stuff, the pie in the sky, the moonshot products like the LCD-5 and the Carbon and that. So, I don't know. You're gonna get a couple of runs of headphone products out, and then what happens? Because you need that tech. Very interesting. Hipster Cow imagined he'd get his for $1,700. Cups aren't in the best he managed to get his LCD4 for $1,700. The cups aren't in the best shape, but not bad. And you can send them into Odyssey. Will still service these. I've oft talked about, I like that word, oft. I've oft talked about sending these in and getting the cups refurbished and polished. And you know, the grills on this are immaculate. They're beautiful, but there's, you know, these are a little dull, and they were obviously shiny at one point. They're not scratched up or anything, but it would be kind of fun to see more of the stuff in there, the wood behind it. Then again, I'm like, these are headphones. I don't have any problem. You know, like, you get the nice set, and it's like you almost don't want to take them out sometimes because they're too nice. So, what? He can't hear the blacks over the loud ringing in his Isoparametrics. I have tinnitus. So, oh man, that's something. Anthony Berriman said he had a great time with Jim and his wife from Noble. Yeah, oh, those guys are the best, man. I love Noble so much. They gave him their latest offering, the Spartacus. Didn't tell him the configuration or price. He didn't want to take it out of his ears. My guess is, looking at the drivers and the lineup on the Spartacus, they're going to come in around 1,500. They're going to be in the next episode, the next regular episode. The next episode, guys, is an IEM episode. It's going to be focused on IEM. I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be showing off the Spartacus for those of you who haven't seen them yet. I've got photos, some exclusive photos of some other stuff they're doing over there at Noble. So there's going to be like the headline segments coming back for an episode. I'm going to be doing some Noble stuff. And then I'm going to be talking about some budget IEMs, because you guys tell me that I only focus on the super expensive stuff. And yeah, I want to buck that trend for an episode and give you guys some stuff that you can just go out and buy with some pizza money, you know. So that's good. The Spartacus was the most fun sounding IEM at CanJam London. He has a Sony WM1Z. Yeah, and there's a Sony WM1Z2 now, I guess, and that's like their hottest, latest, greatest. I'm very curious. I want one of those pretty bad, but I've got to find some people to buy some of my other stuff first. Zeos did a review of the latest Odyssey gaming headset, and given its specs and sound, pronounced it spectacular. That's good. You know, I like Zeos. Glad that he's on camera now, because they couldn't. That first person thing. Ooh. Ken Workshop still has his mini disc player too. Yeah, I do too. I forgot about that. I have a whole collection of mini discs and a mini disc player. I looked at what they're selling for, and I'm like, it's not worth it for me to get rid of them. I'll just hang on to them. It's a fun little tech, fun old tech. They were fun to play with. They don't sound terribly good, but it's a fun tech. Nephilim 81 hipster cow, worth it. Get the amp you need. LCD4 is worth building a system around. It's a great headphone. It is. It's one of the great headphones of our era. I've said this time and time again, we're in a golden era. There are fantastic, fantastic headphones out there like never before. We've got OGs like the LCD4, even the Sennheiser HD-820, you know, the HE-1000, and then you've got Susvaras, and I mean, this is a Abyss, Diana V2s, TCs, and you know, Focals, and this Yamaha back here, and Meze, and ZMF, and ZMF is just killing it. They're so good. We're in a golden era for, if you love personal, what I call personal electronics. Sorry guys, dying. Wow. It was like I inhaled a whole bunch of dust at once or something. Wow, that was something. Yeah. But we're for personal audio, we're in a golden era. It's never been better than now. It's so good. Great options across the board. I'm a huge, you know, obviously I'm doing the show. A huge fan of this stuff. It's so good. Joel Johansson says, sorry guys, I'm still got a frog in my throat. They might let them alone, but they have Sony purchasing power, better tech, access to Sony engineers. They bought them for a reason. Patents and or people, probably both. Yeah. Yeah. Isoparametrics would be cool if they got a cheaper Sony LCD-4 that was as good as the OG LCD-4. Well, I think that's the 4Z. And it's not a bad headphone. I mean, the 4Z is no slouch. It's just there's something a little extra special about this arrangement for whatever reason. I think something a little more exciting or lively about the sound. I listened to them both, and it was the OG for me. But it's not like light years. It's not, we're not talking about a massive shift. It's a little better, I think. In my opinion. I could be wrong, and you may hear it differently. Everybody has different ears. Sony R&D will give Odyssey the funding should be amazing. Nephilim 81, yeah, I agree with that. They're certainly going to get some R&D money to produce stuff sooner. He thinks we'll get an LCD-6 sooner rather than later, but first gaming headsets conquer the industry. I think that's probably pretty spot on, Nephilim. I got to agree with you. The LCD, I would like to see them do an LCD-5 EF or Director's Garage Edition that had a richer, more robust bass presence. If they could take the LCD-5 and give it the bass presence of the 4, that would be, well, and that's almost what the Caldera is. That's why the Caldera is one of my favorite headphones. You've got a nice, fast headphone in the LCD-5. Give it some bass, boys. Just give me some thunder down low. That's what I want. Remember, Sony owns PlayStation. Well, that was the point I made at the top of the show. They're saying that they're initially going to make universal headphones. I got to think at some point they're going to make some proprietary PlayStation only gear. They're going to ask Odyssey to do some stuff that's specific to PlayStation to give them, something extra, some other reason for somebody to choose a PlayStation over, say, an Xbox or I don't know. What are the other things? I don't game, guys. I'm sorry. Like, if I can't do it on a PC, I'm not interested. Or an iPhone. So glad they did not buy ZMF. They are great as they are. And it's not to say, I don't know that a company like Sony didn't approach ZMF and say, hey, we're interested in acquiring somebody to do some stuff for us, and ZMF, being privately owned, just said, no, we're not interested. We like what we're doing. And Zach is so passionate, too. He's such a passionate dude. I can watch that guy do interviews. I've met him once at a show briefly, just saying hey. And I've spoken with him over emails and chat and stuff when he was building a couple products for me that I paid for, full price, no less. But I like watching him do interviews. I like watching his channel. The ZMF has a channel, and watching him react to stuff and talk about stuff, always interesting to me because I like passionate people, and he is as passionate as they get about what he does. ZMF at London must have had over 50 grand worth of headphones on display in their private room. Fantastic setup, lots of amps, very cool. That's good to hear. I like to see ZMF. They must have had a good year. They should have. They had produced stuff that was worthy of our dollar for sure. LCD-4, have you tried Martin Guitar Polish? Yes, I have it. It hasn't done anything. If I wanted to try it myself, what I need to do is use some rubbing compound. This is stuff that you would use on a car. And you would use a couple of different grades and then use some Sonics finishing polish, which I'm familiar with because I'm into car finishes, guys. See, the director has many interests and many levels, and one of them is I've refinished my own cars at home several times, and I put a ceramic coating on them, and to do that, you have to polish the paint down and get it pristine so it will accept the ceramic coating. And I would do the same thing for my headphones if I was into it. But, I'm like, it's kind of fun to send it to the manufacturer and have them do it. But they'd have to do it for a reasonable price. Whatever. Not important at this point in time. I'll tell you one thing, he's never had to refurbish his D8000 from Final. Those are things built to outlive him. Yeah, they're really good. They're very well constructed. I had the Pro in here, same construction, different drivers, or tweaked drivers, or tweaked tuning, or whatever the hell they did. The Japanese know how to build a headphone. My goodness. Yeah, there's some great products out of Japan. And China. The quality of the Chinese IEMs are getting better and better. The quality of the Chinese headphones are getting better and better. They're catching up on the quality. Really good. Look up Sony DPM Z1. Good Lord. I'll have to do that. I don't want to do that right now, Nephilim. I got to roll, but I'll get back to that maybe today. Maybe not today, but we'll see. I'll check it out. Don't forget the Meze Elite. Yeah, well, fantastic headphone. It's still one of my very favorite headphones. And I was reminded of that. We'll talk more about that when I do the Yamaha. I'm going to do a mini shootout in that episode with some other headphones, and the Meze is one of them. Jock just hopped into chat. Howdy, fellas. Glad he bought his LCD-4 when he got a chance. Yeah, we're all loving them these days. They're really making a comeback. I think a lot of people are like, oh, they're not making them anymore. Let's get a pair. And that's kind of pushed the price up a little bit. But they're good. They're worth it. He has a wood cup LCD XC. I have the carbon one. Never felt like it was worth the XC? Oh, in comparison, but yes, they were special. You'd love to own one of those too. I have the carbon cup. That's about $1,200, and that was fine. But the tuning's a little on it. It's not the best tuning. It needs help, EQ help in a major way. You EQ them though, they get good. Hope you do the Monarch Mark III, says Hector Eduardo Rivas. Yes, I need to get them sent to me. I'm not in the market to buy that headphone right now for myself. Somebody have to take pity on me and send me a pair. I'm interested in them though, and I think they're being sold at Audio 46. They could probably send me a pair maybe, if we're lucky. Isoparametrics says he loves the XC. He knows where I'm coming from. Or Isoparametrics. I like the XC. I think the tuning's a little, I don't know, they're a little bright. Oh, hang on 1 second, fellas. I gotta, I gotta answer one thing, boys. Stand by. So yes, I need to get, anyway, the XC, like I said, they're just a little bright to me, and they need a little EQ help before I'm into them. But unfortunately, Odyssey has released some presets for that headphone, and the presets seem to do a pretty good job on it in Rune. It makes it more livable. Still, I still like I listen to the Sennheiser HD-820 a lot because they are tuned well. They just got a wonky soundstage. Headphone is you. What do you use to listen to it? You guys are talking amongst yourselves here. Here's an idea: shoot out between studio headphones and audiophile headphones. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm gonna lean into the audiophile over the studio headphones. The studio headphones are tuned flat. That's the point of them. They're tuned flat, and I don't like flat headphones generally. They serve a purpose and they're important. They're very important to do. Yeah, they need. They're just not exciting. The studio headphones aren't as exciting for me. Sorry, I keep getting texts, guys. And then Ken Jock said he sent me information for refurbishing via Headfi. I saw that, sir. Thank you very much. He didn't need to send his in. And I'm in contact with Odyssey too. They had to do a fix on my carbons to hopefully knock out some of the stacks farting situation. It didn't help. Still enjoys them, Isoparametrics. Yeah, Abyss is his number one right now. I still think the Abyss is Yeah, the Abyss is right up there. I think that the next shootout is going to get very interesting when you start, when I start doing A/B comparisons between the 1266 TC and the Caldera. It's going to get bloody. It's going to be a very bloody thing. Okay, I want to talk about something else now. This is another item in the news. I'm going to keep the show rolling along, and that is this deal. Did you see that Acoustic Sounds made a deal with Third Man Records and Jack say Jack White's White Stripes, and I'm going to let's go to the laptop real quick, and I'm going to show you off what was released for pre-order now, and we'll do that this way, thusly. And their album Elephant is coming to, it's going to get a UHQR version. Why does this thing was blown up much nicer earlier, and now it's not. It's like these tiny little windows. See this, they're going to do a special release. They're going to give a UHQR treatment, and they're going to press it at Sterling Sound, or master it at Sterling Sound, and it's going to be this special release in a UHQR virgin clear vinyl of the White Stripes. But that's not what was interesting to me. What's interesting to me is this. And it's going to be $150 for the record, but this one, it's $500. It's off the original master tape, 1-to-1 dub, 15 inch per second, and he was showing off in a video. You can actually go and take a look at this, boys, if you want. Chad's latest video release, he was showing off the original master tape of Elephant from the White Stripes, and he's going to be duplicating this onto his Ultra tape, and I think that's really cool. I think that's really cool, and I thought it was worth talking about today. And this is a deal that just was announced today, I believe, and very exciting stuff from Chad Kasem and Acoustic Sounds. And you know, I have a number of those Analog Productions Ultra tapes here. And to see them do it with something modern, and there's a couple of thoughts behind that. I skimmed through this and took some notes, so you didn't have to. It's my service to you as your director. What they wanted to do is, I had one other thing to talk about. Shoot, I forgot to do it. I'll loop back to the Odyssey thing. What they wanted to do is broaden the market for audiophile LPs and tape. Chad's. I didn't get that. Could you try? No, Siri, you're not supposed to be listening. What they want to do is broaden the market and bring in younger folks, get them more excited about super high-end pressings and super high-end sound and tape. And Chad's releases are typically jazz, and he does high-end stuff like the RCA recordings from the 1960s, and then he'll do blues albums like Muddy Waters and select things like that. Stuff that's a little on the eclectic side, stuff that I'm really interested into. I love blues, I love jazz, classical recordings. I'm into that. It's great. But he wanted to do some stuff that was more current to bring in younger folks, and this is his on-ramp to that. Third Man actually approached him and said, we'd love it if you did like a cool treatment of one of our records, one of the old White Stripes records. And they actually didn't think he would bite because he's known for doing the more eclectic stuff. And Chad said, no, this sounds like a good idea. I need to broaden my base. And by doing a more contemporary release and not something that's straight in that, more sophisticated lane, it makes this more accessible and more interesting which makes me think that maybe they do, you know, something. You know, they've released Zeppelin albums, but they haven't done an UHQR, you know, like, but that's, again, it's like bringing it more modern and doing, you know, it would be interesting to see him do something with Bruno Mars or, you know, bringing in some really contemporary stuff, and this is maybe his on-ramp to that. Very interesting, though. So that was exciting. That caught my attention today when I saw it, and I love records. I love record collecting. I love tapes. I love tape collecting. I've got a little collection here, a baby collection, and now I'm out of money, so I can't do that. But yeah, so I think that Jack coming to them and saying, you know, because they obviously Third Man has a lathe. They do pressings in I think it's in Nashville is where their lathe is, or maybe it's Detroit. I think it's Nashville though. I don't know. But they do pressings there of old White Stripes albums and stuff. But he wanted one of these audiophile pressings, you know, with the special mastering and all of that. And his lathe doesn't do that. And so he went to Chad saying, you know, we'd love to hear what you could do with us. And they listened to it and they said, wow, that's really amazing. And they don't have the ability to do the tape replication at Third Man. They don't do, you know, the half-inch masters like that, duplication. And Chad obviously has the manufacturing and already set up to do the ultra fancy boxes for these tapes and, you know, the packaging behind it. So it made sense to them. They made a deal. It was really cool. And it's nice to see. What I really kind of geek out about is that you've got two alleged competitors in the market collaborating and working together because they're passionate. That to me is everything. That's so cool. All right, so we'll get back to that. Was another thing, and I've got one other thing to talk about today before we go off the air, and we're going to show off a viewer set. I'm waiting to see if Mr. Dynamite jumps in, because we're going to show off Mr. Dynamite's setup. He's newer to the hobby, as I recall, but he's got a killer setup. We're going to take a look at it in just a second, just a few minutes. Oh, and my one other point that I wonder about with this Odyssey Sony deal is quality control. And what does it mean about quality control? Is quality control going to get stricter because Sony has less tolerance for, you know, mistakes? And, you know, like you buy a Sony TV set and it doesn't, you don't see those things fail very often. You don't see Sony gear fail very often. Are they going to be more strict on the quality control out of Odyssey? I don't know. So it's something interesting to you know, roll around in your mind with all of this. Go back to the chat here real quick. We'll get a couple more, and then I'll do the I'll do the viewer system, and then get to that. Guys, he's such a typical middle-aged audiophile. He's been spinning a MoFi copy of Brothers in Arms. It's stupidly good recording. So fun to hear on great gear, no less. Nephilim, the only... As an audio geek, you know, I got bit by this. It's funny, you know, I'm duplicitous in some ways, and I'm going to call myself out on my own shit. And because I have been saying on the MQA debate with streaming and title that yes, MQA doesn't do what they say it does, but it still sounds really good. And 1,000 lashes with a wet noodle to MQA for claiming their product did something it didn't, which was completely lossless. At the same time, I'm kind of like, well, it sounds really good, and it's one of the best streaming platforms out there. Like, I listen to the MQA stuff, and it outperforms a lot of the other streaming stuff that's out there. So, yeah, it's not doing a complete lossless thing, but whatever it's doing is working. It sounds really good. And there's a school of people out there that are like, oh, it's not lossless, it's complete trash. And it's like, well, no, I don't agree with that. I don't subscribe to that. I think it's really good because I was listening to it without problem. At the same time, when we talk about the mobile fidelity scandal and the fact that they were taking master tapes, making a digital DSD copy of it, and then taking it back to their place and doing vinyl masterings off of the DSD file, I was really upset by that because it wasn't because they were, and I think part of that is, again, there was a deception there. They weren't revealing their source, and I think when you're implying that you're an all analog chain and then you're doing a digital interstep, that really upset me. So I'm giving MQA a break in a sense, but I don't give Mobile Fidelity a break, and I don't know why that is. That's a really like I'm rolling that around in my head. I should be really pissed at MQA, but I'm not. And maybe it's because it just sounds good. And maybe my problem is that Mobile Fidelity had some pressings that weren't so good. And then it turns out that they were doing this DSD interstitial file, and maybe that's the reason that they didn't sound so good. And I'm referring specifically to an album like the Raspberries Greatest Hits, which is atrocious. Like, it's so noisy and it's so bad, and the quality is so bad on that record, on the Mobile Fidelity pressing of it. I was really, wholly disappointed when I got it. And the same with the Simon and Garfunkel One Step. The Abraxas was one of the best albums. And, I'm going to be perfectly, fair. The Abraxas Santana album was as good as they got. It was one of the best sounding albums I've ever put on my turntable. Probably bar none. I can't think of anything that sounded so great. And then I got Bridge Over Troubled Waters, and it was a complete meh. I've heard digital files that sound better than that analog pressing. And that was a digital interstep. So, I don't know. It's kind of a paradox here with your director. I challenge myself because hey, we're all full of shit on some level, right? Really. And that's maybe a level that I'm full of crap on. I don't know, but I've been really upset by that. And Chad does it, and the whole point of this is that Chad does it the right way. Chad has never not done a completely analog. For us purists, Chad has always done it in an analog manner. He's done it the right way. He's always been very transparent about how it does. And it was so cool that on this video, this to me is the ultimate in geekdom for me. And that's this, you're looking at the actual master tape. This is it, boys. This is it. This is the master he's holding. He's holding the 2-track master of that album. That's the product. That's what came out of the studio sessions. So you know where you're getting. You know where you're getting. You know where it's coming from. Just so cool to see that stuff, to see the master, and the guy from Third Man brought the tape with him, like going to deliver it in person. Yeah, because it's the master. You lose that, you've lost the album forever. That's the master tape. And he's given it to Chad to do duplicates for consumers, one off the master tape. At 15 inches per second, the high, other than 30, you can't get better with that. And 30 is terribly impractical because the size of the spool, you need so much tape to do that. 15 is the magic setup. So good. A couple more. Then we're gonna take a look at the thing, and then I gotta get out of here because I got one of the workers on the house is here. Nephilim got an Abbey Road Studios copy of Brothers in Arms. Big fan of it. I have one of the originals. I bought it when it came out new. That's how old I am. Do you think when they made the master, they thought it would be a huge hit or just another recording? I don't know. I mean, who knew the White Stripes were going to be a thing? I mean, that was one of their first records, wasn't it? Or was that down the road? I'm not as familiar with White Stripes history. Maybe somebody can chime in with that. He thought the Analog Productions used DSD for their Steely Dan pressings. I don't know that's the case. Hipster Cow, I'm actually not sure. I didn't, and I don't own any of the Steely Dan stuff from Analog. I have original records still from that. I bought them back in the day. It was so bad. God, I own this stuff. Amazing. All right, since we've caught up in the chat, I'm going to show you Mr. Dynamite's system. Mr. Dynamite, I'm sorry you're not here to rave about your system, but this is really cool. He's got a really neat setup, and it's using a here we go. Let's go full screen on this bad boy. It's using a DAC that I actually considered for the Director's Garage, so it's really cool. Let's go back to the laptop of death. Here we go. This is Mr. Dynamite's system, and you will notice right away, I love the monitor above, so he can run his Roon out, get his Roon on in a major way, major graphic way, and he's running Hollow May. He's got the Hollow May. Is that the Hollow May or the Hollow Spring? I think it's the Hollow Spring. Can I zoom in on this? Come on, boys. Let me zoom in. How do I do this? Oh, plus. Here we go. It's the Hollow Bliss. So that's an amp. And then he's got the Hollow Spring 3. So cool. And this Holotech, it's something that I wanted to get in here and try out. I just haven't had to. He's got a Mac Mini down there that's feeding it all. And then he's got a power conditioner, I think, down below. Very cool setup. And then, of course, this little bad boy over here, you might recognize a little-known HiFiman product called the Susvara to listen to it all on. And I think that's just awesome. This is Mr. Dynamite's system, his listening rig at home. And as I recall, he was relatively new, and what a great way to jump into the audiophile stuff, and he's jumped in with Hollow Audio's products and a Susvara. Right, man. Way to go. It's so cool. And if you guys want to send your systems to me for us to show off and kind of oogle on the show, go ahead and send it to just send it to directorsgarage@gmail.com. That's my direct email address, directorsgarage@gmail.com. Happy to show off, put up your system. If there's anything you don't want to show, we can work on that, or whatever it is. But it's fun to look at what other guys are listening to, because it makes us think about what we might do to our own systems down the road. And that Hollow stuff is a tech that I would love to get into someday and try out and see what the fuss is about, because there's a lot of that's an amp and a DAC, and along with the Hollow May, are getting tremendous amount of buzz, and probably worthwhile buzz, worthy buzz. So very cool. That's my viewer system of the day, Nephilim. I love it. Beautiful setup. He's curious about the Hollow stuff. He hasn't had a chance to check it out. I know, maybe it'll be at Can Jam. I'm going to be at Can Jam in a month or whenever it is in SoCal. If you guys see me there, I'll have on one of these shirts. Come up to me, say hello. We'll shoot the shit, as it were. Okay, guys, I'm going to get out of here because I've got a worker outside waiting for me. I hope you enjoyed our look at our deep dive into this Odyssey sale and what does it mean for everybody. And I hope that it was fun talking about it and speculating, because that's what we're doing around here. There's nothing wrong with speculation, guys. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I love a good speculation. And that's what it is. It's just fun to talk about, because it's like, one of our core providers of heroin in the hobby is now owned by a giant megacorp. What does that mean? I don't know. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to be editing this weekend. Send your viewer systems to me. send me thoughts about Odyssey, and we'll get together. We'll do this again next week, and hopefully I'll have a new full show out. Big show will be coming next week. It's going to be an IEM show, budget IEMs, and then I'm going to tease you on the live show only some exclusive stuff from Noble. We're going to show off some Noble stuff. I had a conversation with John Moulton. He sent me some tasty photos. We're going to get to show off on the show. And then we're going to get into some budget stuff for those of us who are broke, like I am right now, from buying this place. All right, cheers, everybody. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you before you know it. All right, get out of here. Music blasting.